So this is the cost website. It's the easiest website that there is. I think cost.eu couldn't go simpler. Now, the thing, and I try to get speakers from a huge range of topics as possible. So even though it's called cooperation in science and technology, but it actually covers humanities as well, cost.eu. Now, how do you get, I think the website has everything. The problem is to find through the website. So I always introduce people practically. So go to the first step, normally, cost actions, okay? And there you will see what the cost actions are all about. The networking tools we discussed, innovators, grants, etc., to become an Excel expert. Now, the thing is, as we've heard already, the big advantage about costs is that a person, unlike any other research funding mechanism, by the way, something they forgot to mention, that cost is 50 years old, 51 now, actually. It was set up in 1971. So it's the oldest research funding mechanism in the EU. Okay, it's the oldest. So, so it helps to set up networks. You get to know people. We've heard, from Melissa, even Jean, how you get to know people you never thought you would meet. And the big advantage about cost is that you can join even if the action has already been approved. So what happens? Once the call is, once the new actions are out, okay, let's imagine you've never been involved in cost, nobody has ever contacted you to become a secondary proposer, nothing. So you say, I want to participate in cost. So what do? You go to the website, okay, first of all, or else I will tell you as well, before we go there, a good way to start is to contact your local equivalent of me. And by the way, as I already informed Ronald and my colleagues this morning, I have decided to take a step back from cost. I've been cost national coordinator 12 years, and I've decided to stop as from June because my academic work has increased a lot. And I decided I'm going to stop. So, but I'm going to leave in the very good hands of Melker and Stephen, and I also offered to help out whenever necessary as well. So this will be my last cost info there, but don't worry, you'll be seeing me for the next few months, I'm sure. So if you go about cost, go further along, the last step. Here you find about who we are, okay, who is who. The cost members, etc. So if you go to who is who, go down to who is who, click there. There you will find, click. It's loading. Okay, the internet is very slow today. You will find who is who. So, of course, the administration there, our guest speaker. Look at the lovely big photo of Ronald there. So we have the big man himself with us today. Thanks very much for coming. And the full range and all his colleagues, about 50, how many are working in cost? 55, something like that? How many people are working cost? Close to 70. And they've just moved offices, by the way, now. They're in Place Roger. They're no longer in Louis, which is even more accessible, in my opinion, because it's very close to Brussels now, it's close to Gare du Nord, North Station. So there you have the list of all the stuff, okay, and everybody here, the policy communications, etc. Is there your photo there, Bart?
Yes.
Oh, where is Bart? Ah, there he is. Okay, there's Bart. So anyway, that's all the people working cost. If you scroll up again, please, Noeli. So then there's the committee for senior officials. So this is the policy committee. So that's the committee which decides on policy. So how costs should work, what the rules should be, etc. So these are the policy people. Right now, the president, it's a rotating presidency. So we previously he was from the Netherlands, and now we have our colleague from France. Okay, next week we're meeting in Paris for the first time after 2 years face to face. And there, if you scroll down, you will also find by country who the representatives are. So if you go to Malta, there's me. Malta, there's me. Where am I? There I am. I don't think there's my photo, but there I am. So there's myself, and Stephen now is deputy. And of course, you will also find Poland. So if you go to Poland, there you'll find our colleagues from Poland who know very well. Don't forget costs. You get to know people really well because there's only 40 to 50 countries. So we usually meet twice a year and the same people. So we become very, very good friends, even ourselves. So that's our colleague Anna from Poland, and then from Croatia. There. That's our colleague from Croatia. Okay, so those are, if you click on them, you'll have their email addresses, etc., etc. If you scroll up, you will then find the executive board is the one, sort of the smaller group of the CSO, which they meet regularly every month or two to decide decisions. There's no need to go through that. Right now, it's our colleague from Greece. Then there's national coordinators. National coordinators are those people who handle the nominations in practice, who do the day-to-day work. Now, in Malta, that's the one and the same person. So I'm both CNC and CSO. Okay, so they're the one who upload the nominations, the one who chase people, who chase Jean and Melissa and Charles and Sebastiano to fill up the application form I have, etc. So if there's nobody available on the cost action, okay, so you can find who there is over there. And then if you go to the scientific committee, that is the committee which Luciano, there's Luciano there. All right, okay, so. And they chair the evaluation process to make sure that the science is the best, etc., etc. We'll hear more about it next week. Now, how to join the cost action? So if we go now to the cost actions, about browse actions, scroll to the last one. Here you will find the list of all the actions which have been funded. As you've heard, the next call should be automated. There are about 70 actions, which is actually one of the biggest numbers in the last years. The last call we have was about 50 actually. Usually it's about 40. It depends on the budget. So what do? The actions are listed, the most recent at the top. Now, in the last year, the rules have changed slightly. The rules, what we used to call before the Vadamecum, which was the big Bible about costs, which are now called the annotated rules, have said, look, before it was, persons could join cost actions in the first year. This has now been streamlined. If possible, a person should join a cost action unless there is a secondary proposer before the first kickoff meeting, for the first management committee meeting, okay? Which is usually about 4 months later. So once these actions are approved and around May, the kickoff meetings, I think we just received the email, will be around September, October. So we have a very busy 4 months nominating persons before. Don't worry, if the kickoff meeting has taken place and you wish to join a cost action, then the MC committee can vote virtually to allow this person to join as well. If possible, but within the first year. We've heard that the cost action lasts 4 years. I don't think it makes sense to join a research project after the first year, because things are already underway. You can still join or form part of the working group, but it's a bit more difficult. So what do we do? Here are the list of actions. Now, there's a very good search engine at the top. So you tell me one word you are interested in. Okay, tell me a keyword. Nothing we've heard from this morning. So no earthquakes or moons or women fertility issues. Hey, what research are you interested in?
Agriculture.
Agriculture. What's in agriculture? Okay, you press search. And then you will find all the actions which have the word agriculture in the abstract. Now, as I said, the most recent at the top, okay? And as you can see the date. So those were actually, that's the date of the meeting, 8 November 2021, and when it finishes, 7th November 2025, okay? So here you have all the actions, which have to have the word agriculture in them, okay? So, you say, oh, which one is of interest to me? Okay, agriculture, I don't know. Let's see. The one on fermented foods. Okay, this is of interest. I know someone who's interested in yeast and ferments, etc. So you click on it, on the number, the first one. Okay. So when you click on it, there you will find, first of all, the description, the short description. Okay. If you scroll down, you will also see here at the bottom what was referred to as well, the Memorandum of Understanding. That is a 20-page document. If you click on it and download, a 20-page document, which is basically the proposal, what it is that they plan to do during the action, how often they plan to meet, how many working groups they plan to organize, again, chart, short-term scientific missions, etc., etc. It's just 20 pages. A cost proposal is 20 pages. Okay, not more than that. What we call the technical annex. You say, oh, this is of interest to me. So can I join? Now the trick is Ergipla. So you say, but is there anyone from Croatia, from Poland, taking part from Malta? So you go to management committee, okay? And you scroll down, and here you will find all the countries. As you can see, there's a maximum of 2 persons per country. And you say, okay, let me see, Croatia. Croatia, there's only 1 person. So there's the possibility for somebody else to join. Scroll down, let's see. Malta, I know there are, because I remember there's 1 person there, and Poland, there are already 2 persons. Okay, so you say, hey, that's of interest to me. So how can I join now? If you scroll up a bit, at the top it also gives you who the leadership is. So for example, more main context of leadership. So who the chair is, so the equivalent of Jean, the vice chair, the people from course who are helping with the administration, and then you have the working groups as well, etc., etc. All right. So this is basically how you find out whether there's an action of interest to you. Now, how do you join? What the next step is? If the presentation, I don't want to keep too long because I'm aware Veronica's waiting for us online. So to join, what do you join? Complete. So this you've all heard. What cost is, how it's organized, that you can have, by the way, even a master's student participating in cost. So you can have a master's student and a Nobel Prize winner in the same cost action, a maximum of 60 people. And you meet at least twice a year, so you become very good friends. You can imagine the networking, complete. So this is just basically how Malta, more rural actually. The numbers, well, here, so we can see the increase in the numbers. My secretary here. Mela, next. And as you can see, Malta's participation, as Ronald mentioned, is quite high compared to our size. So it's really actually quite good. So in 2020, out of the 291 running actions, we're participating in about 200 of them, which is actually very good. It's about 70%, slightly less. Next, complete. Next. So each country has different procedures. Next, complete. As I told you, look up the keyword complete. This, what we have done in Malta is we've streamlined it a lot. Now, as I said, you have to go to the CNC, the national coordinator in your country, to find out what the procedure is exactly. So we have just a little form, and in it, a person has to fill up their details. Basically, we have to see that they have the expertise which match the action. Now, in Malta, we've taken a decision because our numbers are small, and that if possible, a person is not in more than 2 cost actions at the same time. Charles mentioned it was in 6, but they weren't all at the same time, and it's going to be super busy. So if possible, not more than 2 at the same time, or at least one is finishing and another one is starting, you know what I mean. All right, so it's just a little form they have to fill up. And even if you are a secondary proposer, this has to be filled up. It's not automatic that a secondary proposer gets nominated as a management committee representative. So now I know of cases in like large countries like Germany, where sometimes the secondary proposer was not nominated as an MC member by the CNC for various reasons. In Malta, we're lucky. Sort of the committee is small. I've had cases, I remember the one of the solar cells, which Luciana mentioned, where we had 6 secondary proposers for that particular action, actually. 3 were from university and 3 were from our technical college and CST. So being the diplomat that I am, I told them, decide you, who will be the MC members. 1 from university and 1 from MCST. MCAST. The beauty of cost is interdisciplinarity. So the cost is managed by the Malta Council of Science and Technology, and the board has decided, if possible, the 2 MC members come from either different departments or different faculties or different institutes or different entities. So for example, an academic and a public entity. For example, we have the police force and one on drug abuse, for example. We have our Malta Information Technology. We have Transport Malta on transport. We have Malta Planning Authority on things to do with environment. So we have Heritage Malta as well, who's responsible for our museums as well. So it's not just academics, okay? This application form then is summarized, the nomination is then processed through the board of MCST. Within 2 weeks, the person is informed whether he or she is funded or not. I've nominated 800 persons in these last 12 years, and I can say that only twice did I have any queries about the nomination of these persons. One was because her tenure was nearly up at university, something like that, and the other one was a question of the matching. But it's actually very simple, but you really have to see what's happening in your country. All right, so it's really very simple. I think that's all I wanted to say. I know Veronica is online and time is pressing, so I think I'll stop here, but in the afternoon I'll be available, so if you want any more questions, we will contact. So now I will ask Veronica to give a talk. As I said, we'll leave the Q&A in the afternoon. Veronica is from our conference unit, which is based at the Valletta campus. I am aware perhaps many of you have already been there. So she'll be telling us a bit about the facilities the conference unit has for organizing conferences, especially cost events, because if we organize any cost meetings through the university, they have to be done through the conference unit. And as I said, I'll be available for any questions in the afternoon. I'll be jumping from one group to the other. Thank you.